Hey everyone, my name is Wedge and welcome back to our Magic the Gathering lore series. If you're just tuning in and need to catch up, there'll be annotations flying around as well as a link to the playlist in the description. Quick recap, Urza is back in Dominaria and knows that he's the reason the Phyrexians have access to the plane. To combat this, he realizes he must fight the Phyrexians now and in the past have any hope of eradicating them completely. The dude needs to time travel. With that said, I present to you Time Streams. On the island of Talaria in Dominaria, Urza and a mage named Baron create the Talarian Academy. This school, which attracts thousands of young students, is designed to create powerful artificers and mages. At least this is what it does on the surface. The real purpose of the academy is to prepare for the inevitable, the Phyrexian invasion. Urza begins experimenting with time travel. The goal is to travel 8,000 years in the past and warn the Thran about Yawgmoth. Through much experimentation, he finds that only metal can travel through his newly created portal. Not only that, but silver is the only type of metal that can travel unharmed. After discovering this, Urza creates what is known as the first of his legacy artifacts, Probe 1, made completely out of silver. Using the Heartstone that he recovered from Xantia after the battle with Gix, Urza gives life to Probe 1. Probe 1 begins socializing and making friends as any normal person would. He meets two young students at the academy, Teferi from Zalfir and Joyra from Shiv. Teferi is known as a constant troublemaker and nuisance, but has considerable magical power. Joyra is a Shivan artificer, raised alongside dragons, goblins, and Viashino. Joyra and the construct become close friends. Deciding that he needs a new name, Joyra suggests Karn, the Thran word for strength, and thus Karn's Silver Golem is born. Urza and Karn begin time travel experiments. They're only able to send Karn back in time a few days at most. Each time they do this, however, temporal energy creates sickness and in some cases death for the island's inhabitants. We'll come back to that later. One day, a young sailor named Carrick is washed up ashore on Talaria. He's found by Joyra and they become friends quickly. Since no adults are allowed on Talaria, Joyra has to keep Carrick's existence a secret from everyone besides Karn, as he is not a child. For the record, no adults are allowed on the island because Urza is paranoid. Phyrexian sleeper agents will do that to you. Back to Urza and Karn. During one of their experiments, Karn is able to see Carrick outside of the academy asking for Phyrexian negators as reinforcement. Karn comes back and warns Urza about, guess what, a Phyrexian sleeper agent! Before Urza has time to react, negators sweep through the academy, killing almost everyone, including Joyra, Teferi, and Baron. Urza orders Karn to go back in time even further and stop this whole thing from ever happening. Karn travels back in time and stops Carrick before he can call his negators, but when Karn tries to return, the temporal energies are too much and a massive explosion levels Talaria, in the new timeline. Urza is able to planeswalk a handful of teachers and students away before the blast kills them. Of the survivors in the new timeline, Baron, Teferi, and Joyra are among them. 10 years pass before Urza, Baron, and Karn finally return to the island. They find that it's still destroyed, but the land is littered with time rifts. There are areas where time is sped up and areas where it's slowed down. If you cross into one of these, you pretty much die. Thankfully, Joyra has been living on the island over the past decade, acquiring the necessary skills to traverse the new landscape. Upset by the damage Urza's caused, Joyra insists that he make amends for his actions. Naturally, Urza's response to this is to create a new, more glorious Talarian Academy. Joyra wasn't the only person of importance to be on the island over the past 10 years. Teferi, one of the Academy's premier students, is stuck in an insanely slow time rift where he is still trying to outrun the explosion that happened 10 years ago. Carrick and his Phyrexian negators are also trapped. They're stuck in a fast time rift. For every year that passed in the outside world, a decade passed in theirs. Naturally, being all Phyrexian, he starts building up an army. He sends negators to figure out how to escape their prison, but they're all destroyed trying to leave the rift. Urza finds the Phyrexians stuck in their fast time rift. He develops an airship to drop bombs on Carrick. He hits many of the negators, but doesn't completely destroy them. Since time is so much faster in their rift, Carrick is able to recover quickly. Joyra is gravely wounded in the bombing as the airship is destroyed and falls into a coma. After some years, Joyra awakens to an epiphany. She takes time water, that is basically Talaria's water supply, and applies it to the time rifts. Slow time water can neutralize an area of a fast time rift and vice versa. Using this, she applies fast time water to the slow rift that is holding Teferi hostage. Since time has gone so slowly for him, he's still the same age as he was when the Academy was first attacked. Urza decides that sending people to fight the Phyrexians is too risky. He creates an army of machines powered by power stones. He opens the rift and begins his invasion. His forces are quickly destroyed and he's taken hostage. Karn sees this, naturally freaks out, and runs into the rift after him. Karn's able to save Urza and return to the Academy. On the way out of the rift, Urza realizes that he just gave Carrick more metal and power stones. Valuable resources and technology that Carrick was running severely low on. Over the next 10 years, Carrick attacks the Academy over and over again, each time pushed back by the strong mages of Talaria. During this turmoil, Urza leaves the Academy, remembering that the Phyrexians in the Time Rift aren't the only ones he should be worried about. He travels to Shiv, where he knows an old Thran mana rig exists. Urza unites the Viashino and Goblin races in the area and begins using the mana rig. In addition, he befriends the Shivan dragons Garadaragas and Ramadaragas. Urza brings Teferi and Joyra to oversee production at the rig. After some time, the rig starts producing a steady stream of power stones. In this time, Urza discovers a new type of metal. Like Karn, it can grow and change from its original shape. He uses this metal to begin designing a new ship, one he can attach parts of his legacy to and can also planeswalk. To complete this ship, Urza needed a specific type of wood that only exists in the forest of Yavimaya. He travels there and is confronted by Multani, an insanely powerful Marrow sorcerer. Urza is unwelcome in Yavimaya, as Multani remembers what his presence did to Argith during the Brothers' War. Multani takes this rare opportunity to trap Urza inside of a massive tree and force him to feel the pain that Argith felt. For 3 years. Baron and Talaria are finally overcome by Carrick's horde. Baron has no choice but to attempt to recall Urza. Urza senses the massive amount of death occurring in Talaria and is shaken free from his imprisonment. He planeswalks to Shiv to gather Viashino, goblins, and draconic warriors, then planeswalks all of them to Talaria. They're successful in holding back the swarm of Phyrexians and decide to go on the offensive. Multani notes that Urza was able to save the lives of the Talarian people from the Phyrexian menace. As Urza and his troops travel through the rift, Multani basically spies on him. He sees what the Phyrexians have brought to his world and he's horrified. During the attack, Carrick is able to capture Urza once again using constructs Urza made himself. Just as Carrick is about to kill Urza, Multani intervenes, granting Urza power enough to planeswalk into Carrick and destroy him. Multani then animates all the trees on Talaria to destroy the rest of Carrick's troops. With the horrors of Phyrexia revealed, the Shivan and the Yavimaya both become loyal to Urza. The Yavimaya give Urza a seed from the tree known as the Heart of Yavimaya, a tree thousands of feet tall. Urza infuses the seed with magic and Thran metals until it takes the form of the ship he's always wanted. His plan is to use the ship, his legacy, and his eventual unborn heir, we'll get to that later, to destroy Phyrexia. He names the ship the Weatherlight. For the Weatherlight to planeswalk, it requires an insane amount of mana to be infused into a Thran crystal. The amount of mana he needed was so vast, he'd have to destroy an entire plane to get it. Conveniently enough, Urza remembers that Sarah's realm was doomed to collapse. He thinks that if he can find Sarah and convince her to help him destroy her own realm, he'll be able to get enough mana to power the Weatherlight and maybe gain a new ally. Quick pause in the story, because I have to say this. Urza's out to destroy Sarah's realm. If you remember, this is one of the worlds him and Xantcha had to escape to after they invaded Phyrexia. Sarah healed him, saving his life, and he brought Phyrexians to her doorstep, then refused to help her fight them. Now he's back to destroy the plane that was invaded because of him in the first place? Don't even care if you're a planeswalker, Urza. I'm about to punch you right in the face. Urza knows he needs the mana from Serra's realm. He planeswalks there to find it in much worse shape than when he was last there. The main Phyrexian force had been fought off, but Serra had left the plane completely. She couldn't deal with the black mana that now tainted her world. Now ruling over the plane is an archangel by the name of Radiant. Urza goes to see her and quickly realizes that she's basically insane. Radiant's also paranoid of sleeper agents and is killing innocent people along with potential sleeper agents and views this as being perfectly fine. When Urza questions this and offers to take innocents and refugees to Dominaria, Radiant freaks out and accuses him of being in league with Phyrexia. Urza keeps planeswalking back and forth to and from Serra's realm, trying to save as many people as possible from Radiant and her war minister Gorig, who is, surprise, surprise, a Phyrexian sleeper agent. The Weatherlight achieves completion. Joyra is named the captain and Karn master of engines. Urza uses a massive amount of power to plane shift the Weatherlight and Tallaria's troops to Serra's realm for a final showdown with Radiant. As soon as they entered the realm, they were under attack by Radiant's angels. Gorig, Radiant's war minister / Phyrexian sleeper agent, squared off against Baron riding Ramadarigas. In this fight, Baron realizes that Gorig has been siphoning mana from the realm into himself. Using this information, Baron tricks Gorig into basically impaling himself on the Weatherlight, allowing the ship to drain all of his mana. Meanwhile, Urza riding Ramadarigas finds Radiant herself in battle. They square off, but Radiant is far too powerful. She tries to kill Urza once, but Ramadarigas dives in front of the mana attack and dies, protecting Urza. Outraged, Urza retaliates, but Radiant is once again too powerful and rips the Might Stone and Weak Stone out of his eyes. Urza is on the brink of death. Radiant returns to her palace and attempts to connect the two halves of the Power Stone. The ensuing explosion instantly destroys her and returns Urza to full power. The explosion is so powerful, in fact, that the plane begins to collapse. Urza takes as many refugees as he can, drains the plane of all of its mana, and plane shifts back to Dominaria just as Serra's realm is destroyed. Some months later, Joyra, Karn, and all the Serran refugees travel on the Weatherlight to Zhalfir, a kingdom in Dominaria run by the newly sparked planeswalker Teferi. This is the refugees' new home. Urza realizes that the power of his legacy would attract the Phyrexians to Tallaria. With this in mind, he scatters pieces of the legacy across Dominaria and Mercadia. The book ends with Urza being declared sane by Baron. He's made up for the sins of the past and recognizes everything that he's done, good and bad. Urza knows that he must fight the Phyrexian menace far into the future. The final piece of the legacy must come to fruition, a human heir. Urza needs a kid. We got to meet Karn, Teferi, Joyra, see the Weatherlight constructed, hang out with dragons. The story is awesome. Next time, we'll be diving into Bloodlines. I know, I'm excited too. I wonder what Yawgmoth has been doing this entire time. As always, subscribe below for the latest and most reliable Magic the Gathering information you could ever need. This is the Manosaurus. I'm Wedge. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.